I wanted to talk to you guys about this notion of African women's beauty and the term Eurocentric, because I've recently started to notice that whenever I see, an exceptionally beautiful African woman, people are very quick to try and throw in the word Eurocentric, and it always comes from, people outside of the African race, and it's always done in a very malicious way, in a very inferior minded way, or a very ignorant minded way. And anytime, obviously, this African woman tries to fight back in the comment section or whatever, making a video saying things like, this is my features, this is what I possess, this is what I inherited from my fathers, my forefathers beforehand, people get a pushback. Because there's this agenda, that a lot of us don't even realize that we play into. And it's not fault of most people. We just go with what society has shown us. And I think it's very important right now, as the new generations of Africans are going to be working and creating new generations, that we are careful in the type of language that we use. So I'll give you a simple example. As you guys know, East Africans like Somali and Ethiopian women have their own unique African features. These are features that they've inherited from their forefathers and their forefathers beforehand, which has attributed to their own East African phenotypes. Afrocentric, right? However, society has oftentimes tried to separate them from their own East African, history and genetics by saying any genetics that looks similar to that of European people, that's Eurocentric features. Well, in actuality, no. The phenotypes and the features that Somali women and Somali men, but we're focusing on women now because this is more like a beauty thing, right? That Somali women, Ethiopian women, or other East African women possess, it is Afrocentric features. This is their features. It just so happens that Europeans share similarities with them. It does not mean that, East African women look like them. Do you know what I mean? It's like controlling the language is very important in how we describe ourselves. And I think it's important enough to realize that this types of wording does more harm than you realize. Another example of this is West Africans. West Africans come in, seriously, we come in so many different shapes, sizes, and phenotypes. It's ridiculous. But there is one common feature that we tend to have, and that is almond eyes. And there are some African women who possess more almond shaped eyes than others, and which lends to their beauty. Now, a lot of West African women oftentimes get accused of what is called Asian fission, which means they're trying to portray themselves as, Asians, I suppose, which if you take just 2 seconds to activate the neurons in your brain, you would realize just how fucking retarded that shit sounds. These are features that these African women, West African women, have inherited from hundreds of thousands of years of genetic passing. And to attribute that to Asian features, it's just indicative to how the world tries its hardest to frame a picture of what they think and what they want Africans to look like. Which is oftentimes why you will notice that when these types of discussions happens, black, which is the word that they use, is synonymous with ugly. So when you don't possess quote-unquote black features, you are now more desirable, more beautiful, and they can attribute those beautiful features to their race. So West African women who have almond-shaped eyes, oftentimes their beauty gets attributed to the Asians. And East Africans, women who possess, unique Afrocentric phenotypes, their beauty gets attributed to white women. And that becomes a problem. And I see this a lot. And oftentimes I even see my own people play into it without realizing it, that by using the phrases like I have Eurocentric features, what you're saying is I have features that white people find acceptable. That is weakness. That is inferiority complex. You should never do this. If you are someone who's of East African origin, and you are a woman, and you possess features, and you are considered beautiful among your community, what you have is Afrocentric features. You should say with such a proudness to it. Or you can say Afro-Asianic features, whatever, because I know East Africans are closer to like the Middle East, so yeah, you can say Afro-Asianic, but never say anything that is factually incorrect. Any features that is found outside of Africa can be found in Africa, right? You should never, in any circumstances, use phrases that detracts or takes away from your beauty, right? This also goes into, I suppose, the phrasing of Eurocentric, right? I know there'll be a lot of people, we have a lot of enemies who want to maintain the social order. I feel like as an African, it is your duty to completely and utterly destroy the social order that does not benefit you. We are not obligated to follow any type of way of thinking that does not benefit our people, right? I'm sick and tired of seeing African women oftentimes be told where their feature is coming from, even though they know themselves that their feature is Afrocentric. And when I say Afrocentric, please keep in mind, Africa is a very diverse group of people, right? There are many different types of features, right? So if you want to be precise, you can say Afro-West feature or Afro-East feature, whatever it is, but you need to make sure that you are completely removing the language of Eurocentric. I feel like it is our duty as the next generations of Africans to dismantle and destroy anything that does not benefit us or brings harm to our community. I've noticed this myself when I used to do videos where I would see videos, anyways, to be more precise, of some racist, ignorant, inferior creature would try to compare, let's say, a very beautiful European woman to a very average or sub-average African woman, and to try and elicit the idea that this is the best that African women can produce. And when I used to combat that and provide, no, obviously I am my own man, I have my own taste in African women, right? I will produce women that I think are exceptionally beautiful, right? The comment section will try their best, and I mean their best, to take away her beauty that she has inherited from our parents, grandparents, long. Like, you need to think about this. This is the way I rationalize things, right? Let's say you are a West African woman, right? And you are exceptionally beautiful. This has been a result of hundreds, thousands of years of your people, intermingling together, all the way to creating who you are now. And then you would have the audacity and the gall to say my features are Eurocentric or Asian-centric. That sounds wild to me. That's why I don't understand it. That's why I think it's important you always push back, right? Never use the phrase Eurocentric, regardless. Even if you're someone who's East African, an East African woman, and I put you right beside a white woman, and you just happen to be one-to-one with them, I mean, seriously, one-to-one. Like, what happened is, it's like a video game. I just turned your skin tone from light to brown. You should still not use the phrase Eurocentric, because it makes no sense. Because that white woman's, genetic lineage is different from yours. You inherited what you have thanks to your, mostly Afro. That's what I'm trying to say. Because I'm seeing the discussion spur up again, and I think recently I saw a video of a Nigerian woman. Oftentimes Nigerian women tend to be the ones with the almond eyes that I'm talking about, and people were arguing that no, man, she's either, she's mixed with something, or she's trying to Asian fish. It's like the world has a difficult time grasping that African women can be exceptionally beautiful, and I think it's come down to no longer trying to prove it to them. Don't have a discussion with them. Just say you have Afrocentric features and just move on. And if they don't want to accept it, then they're just fucking inferior creatures who just want to accept that every race has the capacity to produce beautiful women.